Not magic, not speed. And no, your internet provider didn't lie to you. Your Wi-Fi isn't slow. It's overwhelmed. That single misunderstanding is why millions of homes keep upgrading routers, switching plans, moving antennas, and still end up staring at buffering wheels, especially at night. The problem isn't what most people think it is. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Because Wi-Fi doesn't push internet the way people imagine. It doesn't flow like water through a pipe. It negotiates access, quietly, constantly, and competitively. Inside your home, Wi-Fi is more like shared airspace. Every device is waiting for permission to speak. Phones syncing photos you didn't ask for. TVs preloading shows you're not watching. Laptops downloading updates in the background. Smart speakers checking in. Security cameras uploading clips. Even when nothing looks active, the conversation never stops. Your stream doesn't slow down because Wi-Fi is weak. It waits because it's polite. And politeness, in a crowded space, creates delay. This is where the tension starts. Every new device you add doesn't just use Wi-Fi, it competes for it. More phones don't just mean more usage. They mean more negotiation, more waiting, more interruptions, more moments where your video pauses even though your speed test looks perfect. That's why upgrades disappoint. That's why expensive routers feel underwhelming. That's why nighttime feels worse than daytime. Not because the signal disappears, but because the competition spikes. Think about evenings. Everyone's home. Screens turn on. Background tasks wake up. Devices that stayed quiet all day suddenly want attention. And Wi-Fi, unlike a wired connection, can only let one device speak clearly at a time in a given space. It doesn't matter how fast your plan is if your devices are constantly interrupting each other. This is the part most people never hear. Walls don't kill Wi-Fi the way you were told. Distance doesn't either. Not in modern homes. Those are easy explanations, convenient ones. But the real enemy is contention. Wi-Fi is a shared system pretending to be private. Every device acts like it deserves priority. But none of them actually know which one matters most to you. So your movie waits behind a cloud backup. Your video call waits behind a software update. Your game lags while a smart TV preloads content you might never watch. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Your router doesn't care. It doesn't know what's important. It doesn't know what's urgent. It doesn't know what you're staring at right now. By default, it treats everything almost equally. That's the threat most homes are living with, without realizing it. Because when everything matters, nothing wins. This is where it gets personal. You didn't pay for fast internet to wait. You didn't buy a new router to feel disappointed. You didn't upgrade just to have the same problem in higher resolution. And yet that's exactly what's happening. Your Wi-Fi experience isn't failing because of lack of power. It's failing because of lack of direction. Every explanation you've been given focuses on strength, bars, range, megabits, but almost no one talks about control. Who gets to go first? Who gets delayed? Who gets slowed down when the network gets busy? Those decisions are happening every second inside your router. And most homes never touch the setting that decides it. Instead, they add extenders. They move routers. They blame walls. They blame providers. All while the real bottleneck stays untouched. Here's where the pressure builds. Modern Wi-Fi is not about speed. It's about scheduling. It's about airtime. It's about deciding which device speaks now and which one waits. And when that decision is unmanaged, the loudest background task often wins. That's why your internet feels fine when you're alone, and broken when others join. That's why speed tests lie to your face. That's why buffering happens even at 300 Mbps. Your Wi-Fi isn't broken. It's confused. And confusion at scale feels like failure. The industry doesn't explain this well because it's harder to sell. It's easier to promise faster than to explain smarter. So marketing pushes numbers while homes struggle with behavior. But behavior is everything. Wi-Fi behaves differently under pressure. It behaves differently when crowded. It behaves differently when devices constantly request attention. And unless someone tells it how to prioritize, it defaults to fairness, which sounds good, but feels terrible. Fairness means your movie waits for a background sync. Fairness means your call stutters behind an update. Fairness means no one gets what they actually need. This is the hidden trade-off no one explains. And it's why nights feel worse. Not because your provider slows you down, but because your home gets louder. More voices, more requests, more competition in the same invisible space. Wi-Fi doesn't fail under load. It negotiates under load. And negotiation takes time. Here's the passive truth most homes are living inside. Your devices are fighting quietly. Your router is refereeing badly. And you're blaming the wrong thing. Every explanation so far points back to the same pain. Waiting. Buffering. Lag. That subtle frustration that makes you think, this shouldn't be happening. You're right. It shouldn't. But fixing it isn't about buying something new. It's about telling your network what actually matters. There is one decision point inside almost every modern router that changes how this negotiation happens. One setting that decides whether your video jumps the line or waits politely. One control that turns Wi-Fi from equal chaos into intentional order. Almost no home ever checks it. Not because it's hidden, but because no one explains why it matters. And once you understand that Wi-Fi is shared airspace, not a private pipe, everything clicks. The frustration suddenly makes sense. The failed upgrades stop feeling mysterious. The nighttime slowdown stops feeling random. You stop chasing speed. You start managing priority. That shift changes everything about home Wi-Fi. But here's the part that matters most. If you don't control that negotiation, your network will continue deciding against you. Quiet tasks will keep stealing time from visible ones. Background activity will keep punishing foreground moments. And every new device you add will make the problem worse, not better. This isn't a future problem. It's already happening. And now that you know what Wi-Fi really does, the next step isn't obvious, but it's critical. Because once you touch the setting that controls contention, your entire experience changes in a way upgrades never delivered. That setting exists. It's already in your router, and almost no one uses it correctly. What happens when you do is where things really start to change.